Welcome to 15 And, where we grow through the transformative stories and principles from the Bible. I hope you enjoy this teaching. I hope you share it with others. And I hope you go to 15and.org, click the Donate Now button, and support this mission.
So we're kicking off a new series, Revelation, Nothing to Be Afraid of. And by revelation, I mean the last book in the canon of the New Testament, Revelation. And I'll give you the full stop piece of what we're focused on today. That relationship is the outward gravitational effect of whatever is at the center of your life. So we think about gravity as pulling things in. And I want you to see when the center is solid, what it overflows out. There was an album years ago, Jay-Z and Kanye, titled Watch the Throne. And it was one of the songs on this album was No Church in the Wild, I think was the title of it. And they would just keep saying this phrase, no church in the wild, no church in the wild. What's a king to a god? No church in the wild. And the theme of the song was just this, that out here on the streets, out here in real life, out here in reality, there is no moral guidance, moral center. There is no gravitational center. And so out here, because there's no God, because there's no moral reality, we're all able to be free and live how we want to. No church in the wild. Now, what's insane to me about this is because there is no functioning society or economy or country or nation or town or county government at a healthy level if there's no trust. Now, some people from a humanistic standpoint are trying to live with great trust-based economies. But we know this because we've seen it play out in human history. It's ancient wisdom. When there is a strong moral center and people behave transformed out of that center, we don't all make up our own morality. That there is something that is a gravitational pull to what we're doing and who we are. And so what I wanted to do in this series is look at the book of Revelation, and it would take us years to go verse by verse, just the biggest parts of the story, so we could start making sense of what's happening. Now, there are people who use Revelation as a book to say it only is predictive of the future, that it's like some kind of code book so that you can see what's happening in the book of Revelation and then look at what's happening online in the newspapers and go, I can decode it. And I want you to pause that thought with me. And I've said this over and over and over and over. You don't just take my word for it. Go research it. Go study it. Revelation isn't to be understood as some linear code book. Instead, it is a cyclical pattern that's repeating over and over and over. And that is what I want to unearth for you, because these are the things that societies go through. And we understand that. We understand how to pay attention to what's going on. I believe the imaginative vision of the book of Revelation can so capture us, we would live different. What happens for a lot of people is when they use it as a book to predict the future, they're using it really as a sedative. It's not really a strengthening that transforms them. They're trying to get a false comfort. And this for me is why, as a pastor for like 15 years, I completely avoided ever teaching from it. Because I had grown up in a context where it was used to make you afraid of history can just end at any moment and you better make sure which side you're on, and some kind of comfort because it does all have this definitive end. Well, you have to remember this. There was a context that they were getting that book. So do we really think that this book occurred and it was never to be used until 1998 when Iran did whatever Iran did, and Russia did whatever every few years it's like, well, this is what chapter blank is about in Revelation. Well, this is what chapter blank is about in Revelation. Or could it have been an inspired message for those people at that time and also an inspired message for us? I mean, that's how we think about the rest of the Bible. We don't look at it and go, well, that was for us in 1998 or 2002 or 2000. It was for them and for us. And so as we break this down and start to understand what is so compelling about the book of Revelation, you have to understand there's a context that it's occurring in. And the context it's occurring in, there is an empire. And at the center of that empire is Rome. And they are so powerful. They're so powerful. I mean, coinage is used to reinforce the idea that Caesar is the Son of God. Why was it that the early Christians were using phrases about Jesus as the Son of God? Because they were subverting the power of the empire. Why is it that places that would worship Caesar, the ecclesia, were then repurposed and used as the word for the church? Because they were taking language and winning the language war by repurposing it. Everywhere they went, Rome has good news. We're here to bring peace. And we'll crucify everybody along the street on the way into your village that doesn't agree with us. But we're here and it's good news. And that's why the early Christians were like, no. We have the good news. We know the good news. So how we're going to look at Revelation in this study is not a code book, but is a spirit-given unveiling that tells first century communities and us what's real. It doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in cycles like a spiral forming you. In fact, here's what I would want you to understand. If you really grasp Revelation and the power of the imagination and how beautiful the art of it is, it's like a movie that keeps replaying that you get to insert yourself into at any moment you want. And it's going to give you a different perspective than what everybody else is falling into. It's a movie you could tap into in 1500 AD. It's a movie you could tap into in 1900 AD. It's a movie that you can tap into in 2200 AD. These scenes are going to keep playing out, and that's what I want you to see. So the first thing that happens for John, he has a vision about the scrolls, and he writes all the letters to the churches. And those are beautiful, and they're important, and they have so much value. And I wish we could just spend all day talking about those letters. But what I want to try to do is give you the real big shifts in the story of Revelation, because if you can grasp these, and that's what we'll look at in these series, these 4 parts, then the rest of the book is going to make sense to you, and you're going to know how to get into the heart of the movie. I mean, you take your favorite movie has your favorite scenes. These are the high watermark scenes of Revelation. So, just giving us context. Revelation 5 is what I want to read to you. John has had this vision, and I'll just quote it to you, chapter 4, verse 2. He says, immediately I was in the Spirit, before there was a throne set in heaven, and one sitting on the throne. And so this unpacks around all these letters to the churches. Revelation 5, I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne, this is verse 1, a book written inside and outside, sealed shut and 7 seals. I saw a mighty angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who's worthy to open the book and break its seals? No one in heaven above or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the book or look in it. I mean, there's so much happening here, and really, you could just comment on every verse for an hour. In their worldview at the time, there was above the earth, and below the earth. So it's how they're making sense of reality. Then I wept much. Now that's the big piece here, the emotion he feels, because no one was found worthy to open the book or to look in it. One of the elders said to me, don't weep. Behold, the Lion who is the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome. He who opens the book and its 7 seals. So there's a strength here. There's a power here. Nobody can open this book. This book that unveils everything. Look, when people say something about like, oh man, dude, I love that movie. It was apocalyptic. You've heard people say that, right? what's happened in modern vernacular is we use the word apocalyptic as dystopian, negative, falling apart. That's not the biblical sense. The biblical sense of apocalyptic is unveiling, opening the scroll, opening the book, revealing what is. It's not something negative. Everything is constantly being revealed to be what it is. Everything that can't be shaken will be shaken, so that which can't be shaken will remain. So you see the bigness, the power. Behold, the lion. I saw, verse 6, in the middle of the throne and of the four living creatures, and in the middle of the elders, a lamb standing, as though it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into all the earth. Okay, so I remember hearing Bono of U2 say this one time. Great music pulls you into attention. It's attention. That's what great art does. Here's the way that I think about it all the time. Niels Bohr, Danish physicist. The opposite of a true statement is a false statement. The opposite of a profound truth may very well be another profound truth. There is a key idea that will help you find the wise way forward in leadership, understand deep theological truths, be a million times better than any crappy politician alive right now. It's not in the extremes. Truth is on both sides in so many situations. How do I take these two ideas and live in the tension of them without just trying to balance them both or weakly just picking one side? Is Jesus fully human or is Jesus fully God? Both. The very fiber of our theology as Christians is built around taking our brains into this point that we live in the electricity that two polar opposing ideas create. That's what great truth does. That's what great wisdom does. That's what great art does. The reason Bono was highlighting a powerful principle in great music, because I should have said great music, is that it's pulling you into something. Well, this is exactly what this passage is doing. It is inspired, but please make no mistake. It is a vision from God that is artistically beautiful, that fully captures our imagination when we understand it. This lion, powerful. This lamb, weak, slain. Then he came, and he took it out of the right hand of him who sat on the throne. Now when he had taken the book, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each one having a harp, and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. I love this, and we're going to break a lot of these elements down in this chapter. We get something here that helps us interpret so much of the rest of the passage. So the incense is used on the side of the NBA court. Y'all remember when Kyrie Irving was walking around saging everything up? He's trying to tilt the scales of the game to his advantage and burning sage and going around. This is as ancient as humans have been organizing rituals for thousands of years. Things are used like scent. Scent is one of the most powerful things that exists to trigger a state. I can just get you to close your eyes and think of crayons and breathe in. And that's one of the most powerful scents from when you're a child. You can go back to that state, the smell of it. So smell has been used in ritual for a long time. So this is what would have been used in all of the cults, all of the religions. And what's so powerful here is we see that John's vision is playing out, but it's being interpreted. Oh, these golden bowls full of incense. It's not just the herbs that are being burned, the scents that are being created. It's the prayers of the saints. So whose throne room is this? Who's on this throne? And the offerings that are being given to this slain lamb on the throne, prayers of the saints. They sang a new song saying, "You are worthy to take the book and to open its seal. For you were killed. You were killed." You're seeing where this is headed. John gets this vision. What a powerful commendation of the biblical truth our story is built on. Jesus really died. The mystery of mysteries. And you bought us for God with your blood out of every tribe, language, people, and nation. That in that death, Christ's blood spilt reconciled us all, like Paul said, to know we're never separated. We're never separated. And you made us kings and priests to our God, and we will reign on the earth. Not we are reigning, but we will reign. We are made kings and priests now, and we will reign. Guys, this is a shifting of identity. There's a thing that we do with larger events sometimes where I'll have people stand up and I'll say, greet the person beside you like somebody else more important is coming in the room. And they adjust their body language to do that. Push somebody aside, dart their eyes. And then I'll say, greet the person beside you like they're a long-lost friend you haven't seen in 10 years. And they're louder, they open up their affect more, they open up their body language. I saw somebody do this years and years ago, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Everywhere I've ever done it, it's always the same response. You don't have to coach people into the behavior when the identity shifts in their mindset. There are so many businesses across the world right now that are trying to motivate somebody to learn how to delegate, and they won't do it because they can't force a behavior onto themselves that they haven't had an identity shift into. There's a reason we behave the way we do, and it's built around our mindset. And so what is happening throughout the New Testament over and over and over is we're getting this identity shift is the center of how we transform. And so what is being broken down here in Revelation 5, you transformed us. We are an oppressed people. Rome has taken all of our vineyards, all of our family businesses, taxing us up to 80 to 90%. So Herod can have a bottle of wine 50x what somebody else's bottle of wine costs. And our kids go into debtor's prison, and we're constantly oppressed by this group of people. And you made us kings and priests. Not through figuring out how to get in bed with politics and carve out our little piece. Not through perfect moral purity, not through running away to the desert, not through technological advancement, not through violent overthrow of Rome. You made us kings and priests so that we will reign on the earth. I looked and I heard something like the voice of many angels around the throne. The living creatures and the elders, the number of them was 10,000s of 10,000s and thousands and thousands, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb who's been killed to receive the power, wealth, wisdom, strength, honor, glory, and blessing. Now, it might be that in verse 6, the seven spirits of God is connected to a verse in Isaiah 11:2, and it might be that those are the marks of that fullness of the Spirit of God. It's not a literal seven spirits of God, but because seven always means completion. I heard every created thing which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth and on the sea and everything to them saying, okay, did you just get the picture, right? Everybody is in on it. To him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be the blessing, the honor, the glory, and the dominion forever and ever and ever. The four living creatures said amen. Then the elders fell down in worship. Now, what you have in the book of Revelation is like a big movie, but then you got like a bunch of sub movies, right? It's like the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, and then you have each separate movie. Like, what a powerful movie here. Oh my gosh, nobody can open the Lamb, or nobody can open the scroll, nobody can open the book. Who can do it? Who's worthy? Who's worthy? Who's worthy? There's tension, there's sadness, because everything has to be unveiled, because Rome surely can't be the power. Jesus has been crucified and resurrected. This early Christian community is forming, and nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. The empire is still oppressing them. Babylon is still wearing them out and exhausting them. The beast is still being the beast, inhuman, and ruining their lives. Did it really matter? Was it all really worth it? Was it real? Did we make this up? What's really going on? All of the doubts, all the questions, all the struggle, all the fear. And John has this vision, nothing to be afraid of. Here's why. In all that dramatic tension, something really happened. And the lion became the slain lamb. And that is the center of your reality. That is who's on the throne. Look, there's a lot in this chapter that you could look to biblically, because this detail of scrolls echoes Ezekiel. It's connected to that. In Greek and Roman practice, when important legal documents were sealed, many times they were sealed 7 times, 7 seals, 7 witnesses. So when you hear somebody getting up and teaching Revelation and they're like, and that is 7 countries, Armenia, Croatia, whatever. The silliness of what people do with this book is crazy to me, because if you understand the historical context, it's so rich and beautiful. In biblical symbolism, why does the lamb have 7 horns? Horns commonly signify power. Why does it have 7 eyes? Eyes signify knowledge and insight. 7 intensifies the picture to completeness. So Revelation itself is interpreting it for us, the 7 spirits of God. Here's the idea. The point is the lamb is not soft. He's fully empowered. But that power is not like Rome. That power is crucifixion power, that you can't shame me no matter what you do to me. There's a picture that went on social media viral where in a neighborhood near where we used to live, there was a lamb running down the sidewalk. Of course, the immediate thought is it's AI, it ain't real. A little bit of research, it is real. It was literally a lamb got into a neighborhood and was running down the sidewalk. Now, I know why, and it was funny to watch my family discover the news on the texts, because near there is a meat processing place, and they actually butcher lamb. And basically, that lamb got away, and the meat processing company did get it. And then I very crassly texted on our family text chat, does anybody want to come over for lamb burgers tonight? Oh, Dad, you're so mean. You're so mean. But here's the idea. We associate the picture of a lamb with something weak that has to be protected. And that's playing into the biblical picture all the time, that the announcement of Jesus is to shepherds. And we are but sheep. And we know the voice of our shepherd. This is a different lamb. In complete power. Fully empowered, but not power like Rome. So what I'm looking at when I look at the book of Revelation is I'm seeing a scene play out. And this scene that plays out is showing me there is something at the gravitational center of reality. It's a throne. And what's on that throne doesn't look like what other people think full expression of power looks like on that throne. Now, as if this wasn't enough, this is the best movie you've ever seen. Because they're all worshiping this slain lamb. But the story keeps progressing into another twist of the story that symbolizes everything. And I want to lay this out for you also, because this is 15 and we swing for the fences. You guys can hang. I want you to look at Revelation 12 with me real quick. Now, Revelation 12 is going to give us a way to tie in everything we're thinking about in terms of what's at the center of reality. So verse 1, a great sign was seen in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was with child. She cried out in pain, laboring to give birth. Let me just ask you this. Think about their time. Think about them getting this book. Who else in a significant way was with child? I mean, you hear the phrase, you immediately go to what? The Nativity. You go to Christmas. You go to Mary. Another sign was seen in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 crowns. Again, it's just this idea. It's full expression of power. His tail drew 1/3 of the stars of the sky and threw them to the earth. The dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she gave birth, he might devour her child. Like there's a dragon who takes 1/3 of the stars Who knows? What does this mean? There are people that theorize it's possible that this is a part of the satanic rebellion where a bunch of angels rebelled and a third of them did whatever. There's so much here. All we know is this is the story that's playing out. This dragon who has all this power, she gave birth to a son, a male child, who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, directly connected to a biblical reference there. Her child was caught up to God and to his throne. You see this, right? This is so obvious. The woman fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared by God that there they may nourish her 1,260 days. Now, we'll talk about that number in a minute. There was war in the sky. Michael and his angels made war on the dragon. The dragon and his angels made war. They didn't prevail. No place was found for them anymore in heaven. The great dragon was thrown down, the old serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now the salvation, the power, and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ has come, for the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them before our God day and night. Like, what's the enemy's power? The enemy's power is to accuse, to ruin us, to get us full of self-doubt, insecure, rock our mindset to the point that it cannot stand up under the circumstances that we're facing right now. Now, in the temptation of Jesus, and we looked at this in the Dirt series, the devil had tons of power. But because of Christ, Jesus says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. We're in a different era now. This is the movie that is playing out. The accuser has been thrown down. They overcame him. Why? This is why I want to do 12. Because of the Lamb's blood and because of their testimony. Oh, okay. So the Lamb's blood has made it possible for you to be free of the accusation. It's your testimony that makes it actual. God doesn't just say, okay, here, you're completely delivered. There's your part to live this out. They didn't love their life even to death. I know this is dramatic. It's not the world we find ourselves in right now. It might be one day. I don't glorify in that. I don't want that. That would be stupid. I do feel like I can say as authentically the best that I can. I want all that Jesus has for me. And I don't want it to cost me things that are painful. Mm-hmm. But if it does, the best I can say it, I'm in. I'm in. I don't know where it is all going specifically, but I know where it's all going generally. The dragon's already been thrown down. Therefore rejoice, heavens, and you dwell in them. Woe to the earth and to the sea, because the devil has gone down to you having great wrath, knowing that he has but a short time. So that's this compressed time period. When the dragon saw that he was thrown down to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. I mean, it's just so clear. And you have more of this picture play out. And just for time purposes, I want us to look at verse 17. The dragon grew angry with the woman and went away to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep God's commandments and hold Jesus' testimony. What was this vision helping people do? Revelation 5, that there's a center, that it's the slain lamb. And that slain lamb, Revelation 12, has, with your testimony, defeated the accuser. Satan fell like lightning, but he, and I hate to say he because it'd be not necessarily gender specific, the devil, is still in an era, though power is now under Christ's power and we are made kings and priests. So just as the enemy is under Jesus' footstool, it's under our footstool, there's still a period of time here where havoc is being wreaked. John is signaling to us, you are reading a symbolic vision designed, shaped, inspired to form your worldview, not tell you what countries align with what countries in the 20th or 21st century. This whole passage connects to, some scholars think, to Joseph's dream. There's just so much rich stuff here about the 1,262 days, how that could be a symbolic period connected to Daniel. There's all kinds of stuff that you could have tons of fun with researching. But here's what I want you to understand. This is a movie that is playing out in our lives over and over and over. We are in this story. And what's happening in the book of Revelation that so many people skip over is a imaginative capture that is so much more cosmic than the way I was taught to think about my place in the story. I mean, I remember early on being taught to pray. Hey, Chris, if you're going to pray what's called the ACTS method. Adore, confess, thanksgiving, supplication. Think about this. God, I love you. Sorry, I'm such an idiot. Thanks for giving me life. Give me a new car, please. It's like you're working God over, right? If one of my kids came to me and said, what's up, top dog? You're the man, Dad. By the way, I did not brush my teeth before I went to bed last night. I wet the toothbrush. I'm sorry. But hey, thank you for buying the toothbrush. Would you buy me a new Nintendo? I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, okay, you walk through that progression, I'm in, right? We're in a cosmic exchange that is so massive, and there's nothing to be afraid of. The slain lamb is at the throne. The accuser has already been thrown down. We're just actualizing what's already real. I'll tell you, when we grasp revelation this way, it pulls us into the most beautiful tension. Because there are people who just can't handle the polarity of opposites. And so they look at revelation and they say this: we just got to hold on till it gets resolved. There's going to be a moment when Jesus comes back, everything is done, and all we got to do is survive till then. And it doesn't really matter how we live. I mean, that's the implication. There's another extreme. People on the other extreme are like, well, really the second coming of Jesus is metaphorical. And there's a million subpositions on both of these. But really it's metaphorical. Jesus has already come back. The kingdom is here. And it's our job to live the Beatitudes. And just like the Lord's Prayer says, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We're bringing the kingdom continually now. Here's what's stupid to me about both of those. On one end, we give up. We're not living out the full capacity of transformation we could bring. On the other end, what a terrible ending to the movie. Like, what kind of movie would you like where there needs to be this resolution and it just keeps on going? It'd be the worst story ever. You search this out for yourself. Here's what I believe. Jesus is here now. What happened with the resurrection and the ascension, where 2 or 3 are gathered, Jesus is there. And because Jesus is there, Jesus is here now, I'm building for the long haul. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know. I mean, we think sometimes if you look at Paul in Thessalonians, he's like, it's going to happen any second. And by Romans and Philippians, he's like, hey, let's keep centered in the peace of Christ, awaiting his return. We don't know when it is going to be. I am building for the long haul. It's my responsibility to live transformed. I'm also banking on Jesus coming back. I don't know when or how, but there's going to be an end to all things. It's heaven now and it's heaven later. And I want his kingdom and his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. And one day that won't be a struggle and a prayer. And in the meantime, when I get afraid, discouraged by the news, overwhelmed, I understand what Revelation teaches me. It's just a repeating pattern of reality. Empires come and go. Beasts mutate. Babylon rebrands. The dragon never changes tactics. And the book of Revelation is not so we can have a fanciful conversation about who the Antichrist is. The Antichrist is never even mentioned in Revelation. That's a title from 1 John. And yeah, part of what we face in the world with the beasts and the empire and the Babylons can be as glaringly obvious as Scientology. At the highest levels, they have you like sign a 1 billion-year agreement that you're never going to be unfaithful. Come on, people. God has given you a brain. It's so much more insidious than that. It's the ways that we withhold love because we're hurt and insecure. It's the ways we don't do the work to be bold and honest and speak up in truth and clarity. And when we do that, we do it out of fear and we're living like something else is on the throne than a slain lamb. And if a slain lamb is on the throne and the dragon has gone down, it's my job to actualize that through my testimony. And my testimony is me continually living out the reality of Jesus in my life. Reality has a center. It's God's throne, and the power on that throne is the slaughtered lamb, not the dragon. And if the center of our lives and our reality is the throne, guess what that means? It means Jay-Z and Kanye aren't the center. It means AI isn't the center. CNN is not the center. Fox News is not the center. Your kid's algorithm is not the center. And I know all of these things feel powerful and pervasive, and they feel like they have a presence in our lives that sometimes overwhelms us, sometimes discourages us, sometimes riles us up and fires us up. But the way that we live this reality and the way that we change the world is not by using empire tactics. The lamb has been slain. It's the power of our testimony. I mean, if I could get a message to Christians right now in this country, it would just be, you're not living the values of Jesus to be fear-mongering and use tactics to scare people in a police state, although we need good order in police. And you're also not living the values of Jesus to protest it and to fight against it. Nowhere in the book of Revelation is the tactic to fight against empire. It's to subvert it through how they lived in transformed communities. When the throne is the center of your reality, you'll do what the early oppressed people did that upended Rome. We welcomed the least of these to the table over and over and over and over again. Why? Because they were so confident in the slain lamb's power and where the dragon really fit in that story.
I hope you enjoyed this teaching from 15and. Go to 15and.org, share these resources with others, and click the Donate Now button to participate in funding this mission.